If you've been on TikTok at all in the last couple of months, you've probably seen a girl singing What a Wonderful World one letter at a time. At least at some point you've seen one video of hers. If you're like me, you've followed it since the beginning and have unraveled alongside this project. So today I want to dig in deep to the lore, to maybe some theories as to what happened, and I want you to stick with me because it is once again time for the whiteboard. If you've been with me for any measure of time, you know what this means. There's no turning back. But I'm gonna start off slow, just like this story. Just like most stories, things started out normal. Moldoga is her TikTok name, Molly is her real name, and Cursed Content is her game. Just realized my mic was sitting farther away than me than I anticipated, so sorry if the audio is a little janky, I fixed it. It started with a single letter, the letter S, to be exact. On November 11th, 2021, Molly posted a video singing What a Wonderful World, but singing it with only the S's. Silly, goofy, think nothing of it? Wrong. Exhibit A, this comment left on that video. Now you have to duet for every single letter so we get the full song. Can I steal this idea? Who is Astrid Levinson? Their account is on private, and yet they might possibly have played the most pivotal role in online history. All we know is that their name is Chloe, because no one lies about their name on the internet. Was this an innocent comment that led to the destruction of Molly's mental, physical, and emotional well-being, or perhaps a trap? Intricately laid so that Molly had no choice but to fall to her own demise. I'm getting ahead of myself. Molly went on to post a few unrelated silly TikToks for a few days as if that video would remain a one-off. Until November 15th, 2021, she posted a follow-up adding the letter T. Immediate shift. Something is in the air. Simply a bad day? The idea of seeing the project to its completion feeling a little extra daunting? Is the commenter Chloe behind the camera demanding 50% of the profits, whether clout, monetary, or something entirely made up like Bitcoin or NFTs? A few letters came and went, Molly's tears flowing with them. She appears more tired and distressed, disheveled as the letters come and go, but has not alerted us yet to the danger present. She refuses to do vowels. Was that her idea? Is it the unknown, omnipresent entity? Is it our own desire for vowels that keeps them just out of arm's reach? When asked about vowels in the order of the letters, this was her response. I want to take a break here to add what we've learned to our whiteboard of insanity. So we have Molly versus the entity. What is their relation? Could the entity be related to Chloe in any way? Also, how does this affect us as the viewer? Are we the entity, perhaps? Is the song choice any indicator of distress? Is it the letters that she chooses? We also have the topic of free will. Who is in control? Is it the entity? Is it Molly? Is it neither? Are they battling for it? 'Twas the 25th of November, 13 days from the start of the project, where she begins to lose some color in her face. Under eye bags, or more pronounced, eye makeup is smearing down her face like a girl crying outside of a nightclub in Miami. As the letters progress, though, her disheveled look is more pronounced, more purposeful. The makeup is not an accident, but placed with intention. Look at the shape of the black lines under her eyes. Those are no longer from tear streaks. Those are carved in some way, whether her hands or the hands of the entity. The ever-increasing pale makeup, the leaves in the matted hair, the red clown mouth. She is becoming the image of herself being reflected back by us. She is our court jester as we jeer her on to continue entertaining us, practically jabbing at her with our pitchforks as we demand vowels and more letters and for the song to resemble even 1% of the original. For any of this to be worth it in the end, this would mean that the entity also controls us. I would arguably say even against our own free will. I didn't choose to watch this. I didn't choose for this to happen, but I had to see it to the end. Is Chloe the face that Molly stares at in terror while recording? In later videos, we see white gloves reaching for her as she fights for her life before our very eyes. Are those gloves Chloe? Or are we, the viewer, the glove, forcing her to continue shouting for vowels like a mob demanding the king's head on a platter? For many videos, she only dared a glance in that direction, seeming horrified anew each time. Each time she saw the presence, it was as if it was the first time she had ever seen it, traumatized all over again. Are we in a Doctor Who situation where it's like the silence, you only remember it's there when you look at it, and you have to keep your eyes on it or else you will forget it exists and forget the danger that is directly behind you, ready to pounce at any moment? Or perhaps the presence has grown in power each time she's dared to look at it, to acknowledge it, to continue doing its bidding. Is this presence, this omen, shaking its head in disapproval? Is she not fulfilling its needs by not hitting the letters in a way that will end the project even resembling a song of any kind? Is her pain and her fear her own fault? for failing the project. What role does failure play in this? Is failure the desire of the entity? Or the shortcomings of Molly? In the beginning, the glove appears simply reaching. Is it holding out a hand? Or is it an unfathomable strength going to grip her shoulder and drag her to perdition? It's white and clean. This omen keeps the blood off its hands. So powerful, either to never do the killing by its own hand, or are the gloves new each time? The gloves are destroyed alongside the victims, just as replaceable and abundant. Or do the horrors awaiting have nothing to do with the physical world? The fear in Molly's eyes surpasses that of physical or mental torture. It's existential. This represents a void. I've come to the conclusion that Chloe cannot be responsible because no all-powerful demonic being would ever go by the name Chloe. That's just the name of a chihuahua in Beverly Hills. So I'm going to just take her name off of here. No offense to you, babes. You did your best. You are the reason, I think, that the entity maybe went after Molly. Congrats, Chloe. You invoked a hex upon Molly. So the entity is connected to the void. Again, in what way? Who's to say? Now let's think about the end. Molly had 26 chances to make something even slightly coherent. 26 days, spread over 3 different months. The end result is not even gibberish. It's just mouth noises over an accompaniment of What a Wonderful World. Isn't all music just mouth noises we try to make sense of? Is this whole thing an elaborate commentary on the state of music in the last few years? Is that what the white-gloved essence is trying to silence? Or does the white glove represent the powers that be in the music industry, just looking to make a profit? The next obvious step would be to listen to Molly's completed rendition backwards. It sounds like she might be saying help right there. Anyone? Anyone? Alas, at the very end, we see who we suppose is the owner of the gloves. Molly herself. This could mean anything. We could be having a classic Fight Club situation, happens to the best of us, the gloved version of herself being Brad Pitt, pushing a singing Edward Norton over the edge. Perhaps again it is a commentary on her own lack of control over her own life, that it was her pushing herself to complete this project for the audience of people who were jeering at her, begging, practically grasping her by the throat, and demanding more content. Perhaps, however, there is something I would like to bring up from a previous video of mine. Who is the infamous cartoon character known for white gloves? You guessed it, Mickey Mouse. If you recall at all, I made a previous video a couple years ago just absolutely deep diving into the sludge of everything that Disney owns, which is everything. Who's to say Disney does not now own Molly? Who's to say that that was not Mickey Mouse himself in the flesh reaching his hand toward Molly to drag her down with him, to drag her to a freezer, to embalm her, and keep her next to the head of the company, Mr. Walt Disney himself? Is she a bride for him in the future when he wakes up? Was she considered the most perfect specimen? Molly and Mickey. You know, I allow a few coincidences to pass me by, but sometimes there's just too many. Just too many to ignore. So when we see Molly with the white glove, now there's really only 2 explanations. 1, her body has been taken over by whatever that presence is, which I'm now leaning towards Disney. If that is the case, the fear level 1 through 10, about a 6 or a 7, it means that Mickey himself is capable of possession, and if he's able to do it to anyone like Molly, he's able to do it to either one of us. So just be on the lookout. However, there is one more thing to consider. Perhaps the assailant was defeated by Molly, and she took the gloves and became the very thing she feared. So nothing was more fearsome than herself. If that is the case, I am afraid this may be one of my last videos, one of the last you will ever watch. If Molly overcame this ominous presence haunting her, Mickey Mouse himself, then she is stronger than any of us can even begin to grasp. She makes the devil himself look like an ant. We no longer need to worry about nuclear wars or global warming because we do not stand a chance. Or maybe it was just a silly TikTok series. Nothing to worry about or look into further, and we can just ignore and pretend it never happened, right? I stream on Twitch sometimes, if you want to check into that, or maybe not, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, bye!
I put my foot in my mouth again.